archers completely cooked? Well, in this video, sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms, I'm going to talk about how I would go in and make the next archer release the best they've ever had, and would bring archers back to the forefront as being extremely popular with players. And in this video, we need to start by looking at why is it that perhaps, in fact, I don't know, I'm a player. I think the sentiment has definitely shifted, where people are not advocating for archers. In fact, I decided to make this video a long time ago. I alluded to that 2 days ago when I said in my video of the best open field marches, I can only recommend one archer right now because, well, that's topic for a separate video. And here we are. This is the video, right? I'll break it down. So I've been planning to do this video for a while. In fact, I talked about this multiple times on stream. Ways in which we could make archers really outstanding for the upcoming release. And there's actually like 3 or 4 things we need to get a look at. But before we slice up any of that, we got to understand what the problem is that we're solving. I used to work in product management. It's like hard to not reveal that at times. So understanding the real problem with archers, well, a player will tell you they're just not good enough. My reports aren't good enough. But the reason I think the reports aren't as good is because they're getting focused. And the reason archers get focused is because they're good. Right? So the problem is that archer commanders are bad. The problem is that archer commanders do not do the thing they need to do right now, which is handle getting hit and targeted. And this became a problem because of dot mode. Dot mode got better. And when it got better, you could see the troop types. And when you could see the troop types, people focus archers. And people focus archers because the amount of damage they deal relative to the ease of destroying them compared to other armies is a very favorable balance to go and target them over other things. And in a world in which you've got commanders like BQ getting absolutely insano when he gets targeted, okay? You've got Ragnar, who literally steals your attack and march speed if you target him. Well, you're not going to target the infantry, are you? Right? Cavalry are just going to walk away from you, okay? Because they got these talents. So you'll target them, but like everybody takes charge, but it's just going to walk away. They are literally just going to get away. So archers are left literally stranded out in the open and they get targeted. That is what's going on. It's plain and simple, okay? So that's the set of problems we need to solve. It's not that archer commanders have been bad. It's that archer commanders are the right thing to focus. So the new release of commanders should make them not the right thing to focus. Not because they're not good enough, but because you get punished for targeting them, okay? Now, the other thing that made archers vulnerable is the true damage mechanic. We need to talk about this. I think this is a pretty cool mechanic. The idea behind true damage comes from other games. This is not a novel concept, okay? But to a lot of players, they may have never seen this before, which is basically that you deal an amount of damage to an enemy that completely bypasses defenses that they have in place. That's the idea behind true damage. It's like not damage before mitigation. This is just like the damage you take, which is a really cool idea. The reason this didn't work is that they still haven't solved the problem, in my opinion, that archers have, which is that they're getting targeted. So sure, the archers are healing, but now it's working against them that they're healing because they're bringing troops back, and then they're still getting focused, so they're just taking more sev wounds, right? Like, this ability is close to doing the thing that archers need, which is that when they hit a certain threshold, they get tanky for a time, 40% less damage. This is on target, actually, for what needs to happen. But the challenge here is that too much of the way that archers are getting value is from healing rather than just pure punch. And we know that this works to have pure punch because this skill on BQ does the same thing that kind of like Shajar was getting. But instead of getting weaker and tankier, which is what she does, he gets punchier and tankier. Oh, like, obviously, that's better, right? So the thing that I would do for archers, in addition to giving them the sorts of things you expect in the open field, AoE damage, march speed, you can give them health, but the health is not enough, right? Zhuge Liang has health. It's not enough. Shajar has health. It hasn't been enough, is that you need something on them that makes them incorrect to target. Actually incorrect to target. Whether it is a vampire-like ability, which I think is legit, whether it is a major punch enhancement when they get low, that could be it. Whether even debuff clearing Okay? When you're hit with a control effect, negate it and deal damage. This has not been good enough. Okay? But it's things that, like, when you are targeted, give archers the answer for that. Okay? Maybe it's I think I answered it. Here's what you do. When archers are getting targeted, they buff the team. Oh yeah. That's it. Right? When archers are getting targeted, they buff the team, and you give them an effect like a William buff. And now it's GG's. Now it's GG's, and archers are cooking, right? Make it incorrect to target archers, and you have solved the problem. Now, there is a bit of history that we still need to sort of talk about here, because archers deal skill damage, and true damage, I think, is going by the wayside. 2 clues that this has happened or will be happening. One is, that's sort of what I heard from players that attended the Dubai meetup, hosted by the makers of the game. The other thing is that when the developers said, hey, we're going to put some stuff in the early game so that you can start to work on these formations so you have them for the late game, they included the smite damage mechanic so that people might work on Pincer or Arch. They included combo on Bertrand because they switched CJ from being a skill damage commander to a smite damage commander. They switched Bertrand from being a skill damage commander to a combo damage commander. But they did not do the same thing for Cyrus, who they also moved to the early game, and he's still just a skill damage commander, right? So the other thing they could do that plays into things that Cyrus does, because remember, if the developers move things to the early game, and if we assume great design intention, then that would imply Cyrus already has the mechanic that archers will have. So if that is true, what does he do? He does additional damage factor, okay? Sort of bleed effect here. Deal additional damage factor to the target every second for 3 seconds. Instant proc damage with a debuff could be a thing. Here you see additional damage factor again. 10% chance to deal additional damage factor to the 3 nearby enemy troops every second for 2 seconds. Damage over time effects could be what archers do, and I don't hate it because that kind of ties into the synergy that they already have, which is a poison synergy. In fact, part of the reason that archers missed an opportunity to come back into a level of prominence that you would hope for, so that there's an even level of prominence of all the troop types, is that poison wasn't good enough to revive Tommy. And if they had made it so that, Tamaris, who is a poison commander, right, was like brought back into a level of relevance, that is yet another way that you take, a troop type and you elevate its status. So I would argue, if you want to elevate the status of archers, which I think they do, locking in on that poison mechanic could be a formation of its own if you gave it enough attention and love and care, which I think they could easily do. And the other thing, that if Cyrus is the indicator of the mechanic already being in the game that they will add attentiveness to, right, then look at this, the active skill. For the next 3 seconds, the target takes 20% more damage from additional damage effects. It's all here. It's literally in his kit, right? That's got to be what they're doing, right? So we all love instant proc damage for open field, and you can push the amount of damage you deal when you make that damage over time. Because making damage dealt over time is making it worse than if it's all dealt up front. But you can get more total damage. Typically, that's the way that developers do this. In fact, the way I think about commander strength is almost like itemization points. Maybe this comes from so many games that I've played. But like, if a commander can have only like so many itemization points of strength and effectiveness, right? You can push the amount of damage by making that damage dealt over time. Because sometimes a player will go into a city and they stop taking damage, right? And that's just what happens. But typically, right, the disadvantage is the overtime element of it, and the advantage is, okay, it does more, right? Powerful. So I think that's where they're going to go. They're going to make skill damage really good, and if I were designing this commander, here's what I would do for the next cycle. I'll summarize. I would make it so that, and I know I've said this in streams, so this is not new from me, both the Rally Garrison commander that comes in the new commander cycle, the Mightiest Governor commander, and the Wheel commander are both good in the open field. I would make it so they do instant proc damage. We're going to double down on poison effects and or double down on damage over time. Okay? We're going to make it so these new archers have the things you expect for open field on both the rally and the open fielder. That's AoE damage, march speed, some good stats, ideally tanky ones. We're going to make it so that when you target them, they punish the enemy for doing so. Make it wrong to target them, okay? Now, there are Chisgule, you just give them everything. There are things I would leave out of that. Oh, and if you really want to push the punish for targeting them, put a William-like effect when specifically they're getting targeted. This is it. You do this and it's over. It's literally over. If you make it so that they do a William-like effect while getting targeted, you cannot target archers anymore. That may be too good, okay? It's too easy of a condition to unlock, okay? But that's it. Archers are back. We are so back if you do that. We are so back. And ideally, you reward your players who trusted Shajar and moved in on true damage by making it so that there's some sort of extra synergy, and you fade that over time if you don't want true damage to be a long-term part of the game. But like, spoiler alert, there's formations for it. Like, it's not like there's healing stuff in the game. Like, it's not going anywhere. You can't get rid of it, right? I suppose anything's possible, but that's what I would be doing with archers. Okay. And something has to be left off from the new archers. Leave off debuffs, right? If a commander has only so many, so many points of excellence that they can have, then the way you don't overload them and make them just busted is you leave off things like debuffing the enemy, other than maybe a poison synergy, right? So leave off things like, march speed reductions and defense reductions and health reductions, and leave off all that kind of stuff. Just focus on these archers generating good reports. In that regard, I'm sort of advocating against the William thing, but like, the new archers just need to generate good reports. I guess that's where it's at. And the way they're going to have to do that is by being able to handle getting targeted. I think, right? That's it. We solved it. Boom. Easy. Well, the hard part's actually balancing it, right? But all the clues are here, man. Yeah, it's actually so funny. Like, and this is my first time realizing this too as I was making this video, but like, everybody is talking about how they didn't move true damage back to the early game, even though they took Cyrus to the early game, and they brought Smite and they brought combo. I haven't seen nobody talk about how additional damage is literally on 1, 2, 3 skills. 3 skills, right? The other thing archers have done is generate rage. That is actually true. Like, you see this on Esong, you see this here, you see it on Zhuge Liang. Like, rage generation. Doesn't he do rage generation? Yes, right? Maybe I'm just confused. There it is. Rage. Knew it. So I think rage generation could be a part of what they give him. And I think that's okay, but I think we have a lot of ways to generate rage right now, so just gotta be careful with that. I think it'd be very good though. All right, you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, subscribe. I said I would do this, I think weeks ago in a stream, and then I said it again 2 days ago in my video where I ranked all the commanders, and here we are. I'm like, I know some number of people, every time this happens, I do need to talk about this. So, Omniarch made a video about this yesterday. I did watch it. I enjoyed watching it. I think he's got really great ideas, and I really enjoy his videos. So I just let's just establish that. But he and I often make videos about the same topic. And first of all, I'm sure he had this idea all on his own because, guys, it's pretty obvious, as a thing to talk about as a content creator. But even if he watched my video and saw me say that's topic for a separate video, it's perfectly reasonable for him to go and make that video if he wants to. So and I think, he had the idea all on his own because he and I do that a lot. I actually, I don't want to glaze Omniarch too much, but I appreciate his thought process for making content. And I think he is very good at identifying great topics to cover. My endorsement for my homie. All right. You enjoyed the vid? The like on here, subscribe. I'm out. I gotta go. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Leave a comment down below with what you would do with archers. And also, check my video where you can see, like, I'm talking about archers, and it's like, I say, like, topic for another video. That was this video. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I don't think I dropped any hints for what I'd make another video about in this one, though. But anyway, you get the idea. See you in the next one.